Hey, how's it going? Thank you for joining me on this week's episode of The Real Deal. If you've been thinking about selling a house, this is a great video for you to watch. One of the main concerns, or one of the bigger issues that I deal with sellers that are in the process of selling and buying. This doesn't apply to you if you're just selling to cash out, or if you're selling and moving out of state. But this is more people that are have been in their home for some years. They've built some decent equity, and they're ready to move into their next home. However, they're scared of that transition from selling their current home and moving into their next home, which is a absolutely valid point. And I'm just here to tell you how you're going to be able to overcome that anxiety, because I myself as a consumer have been there. And I'll explain to you how I did it the first time and how I'm going to do it the second time that I sell my current home, and how you should do it, so that way you feel at ease when you're going through the process. So one of the bigger concerns is when you're selling, of course, it's like, well, I know how low inventory is, right? So if I know it's going to be easy for me to sell my house, it should be if it's priced right. But then how about me finding my next home, right? How about my next purchase? So one way, and there's multiple ways, but one way that I've seen used a lot more, and if you're a buyer that's been thinking about buying a home, and you want to kind of plan ahead on the type of offers that you're going to have to make to get your offer accepted, this is one of those ways, and this is called a post-possession. So post-possession agreements, basically what that means is that the deal is going to close. The buyer is going to buy the house from the seller. However, the seller is going to have a predetermined amount of time to be in the house before they transition into their next home. So this traditionally, sometimes, in the last couple of years, you'd get maybe 1, 2, 3 days out of a deal. I've seen some very aggressive offers put out there. I've seen some very aggressive sellers saying, hey, I won't sell unless I have a minimum of 30 days, a minimum of 60 days to move into my next house. So what that would look like is, let's say you get your house sold. Now this gives you an additional 30 to 60 days, depending on what we can negotiate, depending on how aggressive the offers come in. Obviously, this isn't going to apply to everybody. If your house is overpriced and it's been on the market for a couple months, you can't do this. This is if you price your house right, you price it according to its market conditions and in the current value, you're going to get multiple offers. There's no doubt about that. So let's say you say, hey, I want an extra 30 days to move. Of course, if I need that, if I don't need it, then I obviously will move out sooner. So you would have your money in your hands, in your pocket, in your bank account. You would have the deal closed, and this would give you an additional time frame to find your next home. This is important too, when not only to make you feel more comfortable about the process, but this is also important for you getting your offer accepted on the next home. Reason being is, when you're making an offer on a house and they know you need to sell your current home in order to purchase that next home, that is going to make your offer getting accepted a little bit harder. You're probably going to have to overpay. You're going to have to come in really aggressive on your offer for a seller to consider that. So use this market to your advantage. Use these different tactics that are now available that weren't available 2 years ago, to give you a little bit more time to make your transition a little bit more fluid, less anxiety, just give you some more time to kind of get into your next home. Now, if you have a great home, stunning remodel, pool that hits all the points that most buyers out there are looking for, you can be overly aggressive with the type of post-possessions. I've seen some post-possessions as far as 5-6 months out. I wouldn't recommend that, of course. I would recommend definitely trying to shorten that with much less time, so that way you do have multiple offers. That's going to be a very specific client that's looking for that very specific home. But that option, that opportunity has presented itself. I have had clients that have considered purchasing homes that with that long of a post possession. So that is one of the biggest advantages. Obviously, there's a ton of advantages right now. If you are somebody in this market that's looking to sell, you're more than likely guaranteed to walk away with a lot of money. You're going to purchase your next home with a super, super low interest rate. And then use this additional creative way to make your transition a lot more easy. Okay. When I sold my first home, we were in my mother-in-law's home for, I think it was like 2-3 weeks, which sucked. We had to load all our stuff in a U-Haul, take it, put it in her garage, unload it, stay in a bedroom, 2 bedrooms. We're fortunate to have 2 bedrooms for 2 weeks. Wait for our next for our home that we're currently in to close, and then I'll load up the U-Haul again, and then unload it at the other home. I mean, that sucked. And then I just, at the time, the market didn't call for post possessions. I couldn't do that then. This was 3 years ago. Now we're considering selling our house again and purchasing our next home, and then I promise you we're going to use that to our advantage. I do not want to move 4 times just for one move. I want to be able to load my stuff up into the U-Haul truck and then just unload it into the new home. All right. So hopefully this helps you. If you've been thinking about selling, if you know anybody that's been thinking about selling and this is one of the concerns that they have, share this video with them. Have them reach out to me. I'll talk to them about their options, go over their potential proceeds, run payment scenarios, and get them into their next home as soon as possible. All right, guys. Thank you for joining me. You guys have a great rest of your day.